right, let's see. So I think that's it for events going on right now and what's coming up. So I mentioned we had a little bit of time. Let's go take a look at SPX Club because it is back up and running, and people, like I said, have had some questions. I'm getting hit up in Discord a little bit. So there's the web address, spox.club. Pretty straightforward. You can create a profile, and if you do, it will save the research values that you've input. There are some basic stuff here in terms of just like syndicate. You can see the different buffs and things like that at whatever your syndicate level is. It kind of consolidates and combines them all together because you get so many little buffs along the way that you're like, well, what am I actually getting? Because it's 5% here, it's 5% to this. So my syndicate level, what am I at, 22? Yeah, I'm at 22. And I'm ops 48. So I can see that these are all the different bonuses I'm getting. 31% to cargo, protected cargo, weapon damage. Just a little helpful thing to kind of see all your bonuses consolidated together. The ship stats one. You can calculate actual stats based on the research and things that you've done. You can look at the firing pattern of your ship. So let's just say it's maxed out. Current tier, it's tier 9. It's level 45. Just a straight up, flat out. And you look at the attack bonuses of like your officers and stuff, you can go ahead and put that in here as well. You can see all the stats and things. A little fun to play around with. This isn't a feature that I use all that often, but it is there if you want it. Hey, good morning, Dean. You've got the Scout Finder, which is pretty good if you're looking for Federation, Klingon, Romulan scouts. There is a chart. Rev did a video on this a couple weeks ago. He has an updated chart that does include some of the, a lot more of the 4-star systems, and I think even a couple of the 5-star, of the G5 systems as well. But you could just look for all these right here. You can see obviously the higher level ones out in the Romulan and Klingon space and the warp range needed to reach those systems. Requirement calculator kind of gives you the prerequisites, as you can see. So if you're trying to go, I'm trying to go operations from 49 to 50. What do I need to do? Well, I need to build the ship hangar, the ship refinery, and defense platform E all have to be at 49. And obviously there's this little tab here I can hit. That's going to show me what the other prerequisites are. So to get the building to 49, I obviously had to have it at 48. Plus I have to have the shipyard at 49. And to get the shipyard to 49, I need R&D and the defense technology buildings. And you can keep going down the rabbit hole and keep looking further and further down here to find out more about what you actually need to get stuff. And if you want, over here on the left, it will show you the total cost of everything. To do all of these buildings and everything that you're going to need, this is what the base cost is. This is the modified cost after your research is applied, which you do down here. You can fill in all these numbers from your research sections. It tells you which ones to go to in which tree, what column it is and what row it is, so you know how far out to go to find it. You just put the level that you have in it. It modifies the costs above. So these are for, you can, if you create a profile, it kind of saves your inputs, which is also very helpful for that. We had discussed if there was a way to implement this into the website so that it would be linked to your Scopely player ID to the Scopely website. So that way when you log into Star Trek Fleet Command and go to the web store or something like that and want to look at making a purchase, you could also have this type of calculator right there integrated into the website. And based on your player ID, it would pull all of your researches that you have and the current levels of all of them, So then you wouldn't have to manually input this stuff. Maybe that's something that does get added. They certainly, when I passed that suggestion along, people seemed very excited by it and thought it'd be a great tool for the players. Uh, Whether or not that's something that Scopely chooses to actually implement, perhaps as part of their website redesign, which, probably be coming later this year. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you, Dean, for the hydrate. Scopely has to code it as well, and you wouldn't hold your breath. Well, yeah, I mean, that's always a thing. Or perhaps since the coding here is already mostly done, some type of business arrangement could be reached with June Bree that could acquire this. But as you look here, just say, this is great for planning. If you're sitting here and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm at 49, what do I need to do to go to 50? How much? These are the materials I'm going to need. I'm going to need 30,000 rare ore. I'm going to need 100,000 uncommon ore, and that's taking into account your research already. So you know what you're saving, you know what you're working towards, and if you're looking to buy anything, well, these are the materials you want to make sure you're buying packs that contain them to help speed your progress along. Or if you want to just sort of price it out and be like, wow, I need 100,000 4-star ore. What would that cost me to get? Well, if I buy this pack, I get 10,000. I buy the treasury, I get 15,000. Okay, well, I'm a quarter of the way there. That's 200 bucks. Now I'd have to buy a few more of these packs, so maybe it's like $1,000 to upgrade. You know what? Maybe I'll just wait until I'm a little closer. We'll keep knocking it off with some $20 battle passes, some events. Keep doing my refinery. Maybe I can find something I can level up and scrap. You start looking at some of the other costs. Oh, I need 35 billion titanium. I need 1.9 trillion par steel. Okay, maybe I need to do some base rating because I've got nowhere near that. That's all that this is. This is just a great knowledge tool. And you can set it for any building, any starting level you want. And if you have some of this stuff, you can start checking it off and it will adjust the costs. Like I have the titanium vault at 43 already, so I can check that box. Oh, that lowered my cost a little bit. Refinery. Refinery requires dilithium vaults. And you can just keep going down and down until you find, like, where's my vault at right now? Oh, hey, I finished a mission. All right, let me go set my miner real quick and we'll just go right back to that. But where are my vaults at currently? Wrong button. So they're all at 47. Everything's at 47. So if I'm looking here, my vault is 47 already. Excuse me. So obviously I can keep going down and down and down until I find... Yeah, it's not going to go all the way down. But at least I can eliminate one or two little boxes of things along the way to adjust some costs. I also need all my defense platforms and dry docks upgraded. Those all have to go also to all the way to 49. So 49 to 50 is one of those catch-up levels where you have to do everything. And looking at these out here, well, these things are only 46, so we've got quite a long ways to go to get them the rest of the way there as well. But at least you kind of know what ballpark you're working with and what range you're going to be in. Your up's 47. I'm 48 now. I'm trying to get... I could push to 49. I haven't hit the button yet. Finney says, I think it would be in Scopely's favor for someone not to know how many packs needed to progress. They can squeeze more money if someone buys a pack and doesn't quite reach their next goal, rather than someone knowing exactly how many packs required, then delay their purchase because of the sticker shock. It's possible. It's certainly possible that that's the mentality that they take, which is, we don't want to tell you you only need to buy 6 packs to level up. We want you to just buy a bunch of packs and be like, oh darn, I'm still short. I guess I have to buy a couple more, right? In for a penny, in for a pound. And that very well could fit their business model, because it seems like something that they would be interested in doing. The flip side to that coin is if someone says, hey, I'm already made it somewhat through this. If I only need to buy 4 or 5 more packs to do it, you know what? That's actually not as bad as I thought. Let me just go ahead and buy those right now, and I'm going to hit the thing I want. So how many more people are you getting to overspend because they realize they didn't have enough and have to go back and buy more, versus how many people who weren't going to spend anything at all have you now induced into buying something because they realize that their next milestone isn't as far away as they thought it was. I don't, that's some type of deep analytic market research you would need to figure that out. So, Evil Dragonfly, thank you very much for the subscription. No. I do not want to do that. You are banned. Get out. If you tell me I have to spend $1,000 to up an ops level, well, you're sitting at 45 trying to decide if you should push to 46. And, something like this website could help you figure out some of those details and know just exactly what it costs. You might think in your head it takes $1,000 to do this. Maybe it might be more, maybe it might be less. If it's less, that might make you more likely to make those purchases, possibly, to just get it done and hit that next goal. Again, I don't know. You can make arguments either way. So it really just comes down to what their research has told them. And if, there's any type of correlation that they can tie to this website mechanic being made available, because people were doing this before the website came out. You look at Ripper's site, you'd see, okay, I need to upgrade these buildings. Here's what it costs. And then you kind of do the math in your head or an Excel spreadsheet, which is what I used to use, and figure out, okay, well, these are the materials that I need. This is the total that it's going to cost. This is just all built into a website now to save you all the time and effort of having to actually do all that math yourself. So big shout out to June Bree for putting the time and work in to creating this to begin with. So the other things in here, obviously you can see the research trees, you can look at officers, you can do kind of just a generic cost calculator. Actual build and repair costs. So like you could look at what my repair cost is on my pylum based on my repair research. Like it's supposed to cost me 500 million titanium. But it actually, because of research and upgrades of ship docks and things, actually only cost me about 85 million. It's the kind of stuff that you can see based on your research. And again, where to find it. The other cool thing about the site, and this is the part that always is a little tricky, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, is the battle logs. I think I might have something saved. Let's go see if I have. In my Star Trek Fleet Command folder, I have an older battle log. Let's see if I can upload this one. Okay. So you can just import a battle log. In order to do that, you have to be playing on the PC version of the game. You would go to your inbox, look at a battle log, and up here you have this little export button. I always save mine to a particular folder. closing it here. There we go. Okay, so this is 36 Borg probe. Just export that battle log. Unfortunately, it does only work on the PC version. And then you could come over right here and what do I have open that it won't let me? There we go. Okay, so it does look like it is working on the new one. So this is my Vidar Talios. Shows you the crew that you used, how much damage, who won. You can look at the battle summary. You can see the officer abilities and how many times they triggered, which is very helpful, especially if you're looking at something like if you're doing an Armada and you want to know how many times did Miles go off over this 26 round Armada. Oh, Miles triggered 3 times. You're like, well, great. What's the point of having him if he's only going to trigger 3 times in a 26 round fight? Maybe I want to use a different officer in that slot instead. Or maybe you'll see that Miles triggered 21 times out of 26. And you're like, wow, that's a lot of extra shots that Miles gave me. Way to go, buddy. So, this particular fight, you can see, took 3 rounds. I fired 7 shots. I got hit 4 times. You can kind of look at how the damage goes over rounds. You can see all the individual attacks and things like that, round by round. Or you can get the abridged version right here, which will show you damage done. So my Vidar did 92 million damage. Total damage from crits was about almost just shy of 17 million. That's what went to the hull. That's what went to the shield. That's what was mitigated. I can see their mitigation percentage was 45.9. So if I wanted to improve my mitigation, I would know this is the number I'm working from. Do I want to add an officer while I'm shooting probes or battleships? Do I want to add an officer like Charvanek, who's going to lower that mitigation further so more of my damage gets through? Or am I okay with 45%? And what my critical percent chance was, 14% of the time I did a critical hit. You can look over here at them. They did no criticals. This is their total damage. Only 14,000 of it made it through to my hull because my mitigation was the max 71.2%. Mitigated a big chunk of their damage. The shields took the rest. I only took 15,000 hull damage from this particular probe. You can flip it and look at damage taken, which is just everything the other way. So this is easier for you to see in terms of who did what damage versus how much damage you took. And then you can actually get more of the details and things like that, where it's going to show you what your damage per round was, what your piercing stats were, and all of those other fun things, so you know what you might need to work on and improve. You can also do this for Armadas and things as well, and it will show multiple people. Let me see if I can find an Armada log. While we're looking at, I was doing some solos last night, so there should still be a few in here. Hopefully my grinding didn't knock them out yet. Here we go. Level 50 Borg Sphere. So let's go ahead and let's just pull this one up just for comparison. You can upload. .50 Epic Borg Sphere. Okay, so some of the newer mechanics are not working yet. So the Borg stuff may not, it doesn't appear to have been coded in yet. Okay, gee, thanks, I got it. So let's see if I can find a different older Armada that maybe I saved. Let's see if this one works. Okay, so this was a level 45 Jem'Hadar solo Armada that I did. So you can look here that I was using a Pylum, a Valdor, and a Kelvin when I was going after this particular one. You had 5-6 Khan there, you had Cisco, Kira, and Miles, and I had Lorca Beverly on this particular ship there. I'm sure there must have been somebody else there with them, whether it was Picard. Probably Picard would have made the most sense, but I don't know why he's not showing that he's there. But you can see, you know, Khan triggered 27 times, and if he's giving me 5% crit every time, I was over 100% crit chance by the time the fight was over. Cisco, his ability triggered 17 times, improving my crit chance. This fight, rounds alive, 17-17. So this fight went 17 rounds. Miles only triggered 4 times in that 17-round fight. Again, this is kind of what we were just talking about. Is that now worth the officer slot? If he's only going off 1 out of every 4 rounds, he increases you for 3 rounds. So if he triggers the 4th round, I mean, you're getting the extra shots for 3 rounds. Round 4, he triggers and resets it again. There might be like a 1-round gap in there, here and there. But you are getting at least a handful of extra shots. So he is kind of pulling his weight. And then you can see Lorca applying hull breach. He went off 10 times, applying it for 2 rounds. So it's pretty much covered from just about the whole fight with Lorca there. You can look at damage done and see what each ship actually did. Pylum, Valdor, Kelvin. Kelvin not really putting out a whole lot of damage compared to the other 2. But then again, these 2 are doing a lot more criticals because, again, you had critical officers on board. You had Khan, who's maxing it out pretty quickly. You had Cisco over here, who's getting it to max. So by those, you know, round 10, round 12, every shot is a critical with these ships because of the officers. Whereas the Kelvin isn't getting any criticals, which is why you can see its damage is significantly lower. How much damage they did. The Pylum had the big advantage in terms of penetration. The other ones were about 58%. 77% of my shots were criticals. You can flip it around and see damage, how much damage I took on each ship, which for a solo Armada works better, or any type of Armada works better. We were talking before about the 1 versus 1 comparison when you're just looking at 2 ships. You know, you're attacking something else. These 2 things are kind of the same. But when you're doing an Armada and you've got multiple ships and you want to see, all right, so this Jem'Hadar Armada did 67 million damage. Where did it all go? I can flip it around here and I can see it was spread out pretty evenly. 23, 23, and 19 is kind of where all that damage went. My mitigation percentages were pretty high across the board, the Kelvin being slightly lower. The Valdor rarely got hit with any criticals, which is good for it. And we certainly mitigated quite a lot of damage there. So, again, hopefully, you know, the base framework of the website is back up and running, but any new officers will have to be uploaded. Any new of the Borg stuff, the solo armadas, the expansion cubes, are probably not coded yet, as it looked like before. So that'll probably take a little bit of time still, but at least we've got the majority of the site back up and functioning. So thank you very much for that. We're all very happy about having that ability there. Bel Air, you love doing solo armadas. You're going to run a few after reset. Yeah, only a few minutes to go. Get crewed up and get going. Olympus, you feel like you'd be liking solos more if you didn't have to fly back home and repair after each one. You'll get to the point where you stop repairing after each one and you get, maybe a second one in, or you get a third one in off the same hull, and then, something dies, and then you're like, all right, well, as long as I'm repairing that one, I might as well repair the other ones. Sometimes it's just one ship, like your Defiant just gets blown up every time, and you're like, yep, the other two are fine, they have no damage. So then it's just repair the Defiant and run it back out, or summon it back out to get it done.